What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Jimmy. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Shout out to the brother Jimmy Cunanez for the donation to the channel via the Cash App. Much respect to you for showing love to Too Raw for TV. All right, look, Dwayne Wade, great NBA player, NBA Hall of Famer. I said it before and I'll say it again. I think most of you agree with this. A certain player should have been at his Hall of Fame induction ceremony, because you better believe the media is going to call out anybody connected to a certain player if they're not attending his Hall of Fame retirement ceremony. No matter how we might feel about Wade's off the court stuff, and a lot of us do feel a certain type of way. Most of us do, I think. There's something that he's done that I appreciate. Look, he has one offspring that stays in the news for, let's just say, controversial reasons. But his oldest son, I think it's Zaire, from his other relationship, that son has been working hard to try to make it to the NBA. I think they've been in the G League, right? And recently, I think it was on Wade's podcast, he talked about how essentially he's not going to give Zaire, and I say once again, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, because it's the way I see it spelled, I'm pronouncing it like the country Zaire. But anyway, he's not giving his son a handout. His son got to earn his keep. He got to earn his way to the NBA. And this is him speaking about it right now.
Left my son on red recently. Yeah, I ain't never had to do that before, but I had to. Because I'm like, you just gonna have to figure this one out, bro. We gonna have different lives. True. One thing I do know, which is consistent, if you want something bad enough, you will do whatever you can to get that. When it ain't about doing whatever you can to get it, when you tell me you want it, I don't want to hear it. Because we can all find excuses in every turn when it comes to getting in the way of what we want for ourselves. The dream of going to the NBA, you thought it was just going to be a smooth ride, bro? You thought you was going to be able to dream and say, I want to go to the NBA, and it's just going to happen? Do you know all the barriers that's going to get in the way in life so you don't get there? It's hard for me as someone who went through all that, be uncomfortable, struggle, not want to do it, but end up doing it, and then end up getting what I wanted. I'm like, you got to get on the other side of hard. Like, that's the only way you reach what you want. You got to go through hard. And so when you're getting complaints back about the hard, I get it. Who the cares?
Yeah. I don't know about y'all guys, but me, I'm not biting off Willie D a little bit, but hey, it's due. It's apropos for this moment. That's the way I feel, man. I don't have a problem with nepotism when it comes to helping your children. In many instances, if you know that your child has that burning desire to be successful, and it's in a parent's instinct to help their child, right? For instance, if you're a supervisor at a factory or a manager and you want to help your child, right? You'll give your child a plug. You can help to create the avenues for your child. I have no problem with that whatsoever, right? But what I do have a problem with is that bullshit that leaked the other day about you know who and his son essentially not even really having to do shit. Just be a part-time player, be above his teammates, not really part of the team, but being part of the team just to save face. You know, he's doing his boy, I'm not even gonna say his name because I know I'm talking about. He's doing his boy such a disservice, and you're reinforcing the perception that this ain't really real. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. And while I know there's not a lot of players saying anything about it, a lot of people not even speaking about it, the silence should be deafening to everybody's ears. The silence is deafening to me. They know a mockery of the league he's making. But enough of that clown. I'm so glad Dwayne Wade has his mindset because I know this from my personal life. I don't have children, right? But I do know that kids that I have observed that got things handed to them, they don't appreciate it. I do know that. They tend not to appreciate things. And they do begin to develop a sense of entitlement. And they don't have that hunger. They don't have that passion, that burn of achievement. Because why should they? Everything just comes to them because, hey, I'm who I am. They have this unearned arrogance. And they are horrible usually to be around. They're horrible. Most people who are very successful, or I take that back. Most people who come from poverty and wind up being successful, it's fear. Fear is what drives them. The fear of failure. Because you fear going back down to where you come from. You fear going back down that ladder and going back to where you come from. Not to use a fictional character for reference, but let's just go with George Jefferson, right? His character came from the South. Racism. I think his family was sharecroppers. That's where he came from. He was a janitor. He came from extreme poverty. Now, it was a luck of the draw. If I remember the storyline correctly, it was a lawsuit settlement. That was lucky break that he had. But he used that break, and he wasn't by nature an academically intelligent person, but he had street smarts, and he applied that street smarts and his drive to become a millionaire, self-made millionaire, right? His son Lionel, not necessarily from riches, but he didn't have the same drive as his father. Not nearly the same drive as his father. Why? Because he wasn't accustomed to being put in a precarious or a situation where he had to work as hard. And that's enough for using the fictional characters. But in general, when you look at rich kids, they're often unhappy, they're unfulfilled, and oftentimes to fill that void, they start doing damaging things. Drug use, alcohol, they act a fool. It takes them sometimes many, many years to get their lives turned around. Sometimes the riches can be a great, great thing, but it can be terrible. And his son, he could help him. He could do that. Because I think Wade, isn't Wade like a part owner of the Jazz or something? He could help his son. Technically, just get a foothold in the league, but he refuses to do it because he knows that he's doing his son a disservice. But his son Zaire will be more appreciative achieving the NBA by doing it on his own merit. He will feel better about himself if he achieves that dream of being in the NBA. No other person I could think of, to be honest with you. There's been many players who have either kids or family members or even friends who are affiliated with the NBA. There's nothing wrong, like I said before, with nepotism. We also see it in other sports. I don't have a problem with it. But to me, at the very least, if you open up that path for somebody, they got to at least work for it, man. And what I'm seeing with Bronny, I was trying not to be, I said his name, didn't I? I was trying not to be judgmental of it, but that latest development lets me know this ain't real. And all that Make-A-Wish stuff is real. It's not even about his son. It's all about his own personal ego and trying to compete with Michael Jordan, trying to do something that Michael Jordan didn't do. That's all it's about. He has an unhealthy obsession with Michael Jordan. You know who? Obsessed with Michael Jordan, trying to do something that he hadn't done before, get a photo op with Ken Griffey Jr. and his father. It's all about his own selfish, egotistical, narcissistic ego. That's all it's about. You know what I'm saying? It's not real, man. It's not real. And Jenny Busline should be ashamed of herself. She should be. She's destroying her father's legacy. The Lakers are an absolute joke. They're a goddamn joke, man. You know? But yeah, I root for Zaire. Hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I hope Zaire achieve his dream, man, because he's going to really appreciate it. Because only, I know I'm paraphrasing someone else's quote, but only when you've been in the deepest valley do you know how sweet, do you know how awesome and magnificent it is to be on the highest mountaintop. When you've been in the dirt, when you've been in the muck and mire, when you've been downtrodden, when you finally achieve success, that's when you feel appreciation for it instead of just throwing shit away. As I said before, there's so many people that have things handed to them and they don't appreciate it. They don't have that hunger. You know what I'm saying? They don't have worth, or they don't value, I should say, opportunity. They think things are just going to keep being handed to them. So, shout out to Wade, man, in this scenario. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.
Real.